This is the story of Jason, a father seeking revenge after losing his son. He had gone out to buy a pancake for his son, but when he returned, he found his son lying dead, shot by robbers. His son had witnessed the robbers looting a cash van. Jason ran toward the robbers to save his son, but he was also shot and collapsed to the ground. As he fell, he desperately tried to memorize their faces, but due to excessive blood loss, he lost consciousness. The robbers assumed Jason was dead, so they fled with all the money. Fortunately, Jason was taken to the hospital in time, saving his life. But his son's death shattered him from the inside. Now, he had only one goal: revenge. Jason recovered quickly and began using his connections in both the criminal world and law enforcement to track down the real culprits. He started eliminating every gang involved in cash van robberies, but he still couldn't find his son's killer. After some time, he and his allies realized that the robbery couldn't have happened so smoothly without inside help. Suspicion fell on the cash van security guards. If they weren't involved, how could the robbers execute such a flawless heist? Determined, Jason infiltrated the security company. He created a fake identity and applied for a job. During the final test, he deliberately underperformed to avoid drawing attention, ensuring he could secretly continue his mission. Within days, he was assigned to escort a cash van, but on the way, robbers attacked. They captured his partner Lau and threatened Jason to hand over the cash. Sensing the situation, Jason pretended to surrender and slowly moved the money bag forward. But as soon as the robbers reached for it, Jason swiftly pulled out his pistol and shot one of them dead on the spot. Jason took down the robbers one by one. If anyone tried to escape, he first shot them in the leg, then finished them off without hesitation. His allies applauded his precise marksmanship, but Jason was indifferent. His only goal was avenging his son's death. He continued his mission and set out again with Lau to secure another cash van. But once more, they were ambushed. The robbers fired into the air to scare the crowd, then sprayed black paint on the cash van's cameras to block visibility. Next, they released smoke inside the vehicle and forced Jason and the other guards out at gunpoint. But as soon as the robbers saw Jason's face, they panicked and ran. Lau was shocked. Why were these robbers so afraid of Jason? He had no idea that these robbers were actually Jason's own men. It was all part of his plan to keep his true mission hidden. Later, Jason secretly took pictures of his colleagues and sent them to his allies for investigation, but nothing concrete surfaced. Then, he discovered that all the robbers involved were retired military officers. Low salaries had driven them to crime, and during one of their heists, they had killed Jason's son. Yet, they weren't satisfied. They were planning one last massive robbery before disappearing forever. This time, their target was $2 billion in cash, and they had an inside man, none other than Jason's own partner, Lau. Lau confessed this secret to Jason himself, hoping he wouldn't interfere. Fury surged through Jason, but he controlled himself. Then, Lau delivered another shocking blow. "I've already removed the bullets from your gun. If you don't cooperate, I'll kill you." But Jason smirked and replied, "You think this is my first time? Jason pretended to agree to Lau's plan to uncover his son's killer. Lau immediately called the robbers, and they took the cash van to an isolated location, disabling the cameras. When the company radioed in, Lau lied, saying the vehicle had broken down. The robbers then casually entered the company warehouse, sitting inside the van. As soon as they arrived, they pulled their guns on the employees and held Lau hostage, forcing him to open the armory door. But the warehouse guards didn't flinch. They opened fire straight at the robbers. However, the robbers had come prepared. They wore level 3 helmets and bulletproof jackets. Bullets felt like mere mosquito bites to them. They then blasted the door open with a bomb and gunned down all the guards inside. Next, they deactivated the security alarms to avoid any threats. But the police had already been alerted. They would arrive in 10 minutes. The robbers hurriedly began loading the cash into their vehicles. But just then, an employee hiding in a corner suddenly fired a shot. The distraction gave Jason an opening. He killed his guard and freed himself. He then strangled a robber to death. But this wasn't the real killer. Jason quickly put on the robber's helmet and jacket and approached the gang. Pointing his gun, he ordered a robber to remove his helmet. When Jason saw it wasn't his son's murderer, he immediately pulled the trigger and shot him dead. The robbers saw everything through the CCTV cameras. They realized Jason was attacking them. They rushed to capture him. But as soon as they opened the door, Jason struck first. However, their bulletproof vests saved them from instant death. A brutal hand-to-hand fight erupted. The robber was an ex-soldier, matching Jason in strength. But Jason ripped off his helmet and smashed his gun with full force. Then, he picked up a gun, stepped outside, and rained bullets on the remaining robbers. The robbers retaliated with gunfire, but Jason took cover, reloaded, and resumed firing. 2 more robbers were down. The remaining robbers panicked and fled in a vehicle. But then, Lau shot Jason from behind. Jason collapsed to the ground. Lau assumed Jason was dead and began loading cash into the truck. The robbers escaped with the money, but Jason, wounded, saw them fleeing. As soon as they exited, the robbers ran into the police, but they had a secret escape route prepared. Greed now consumed the robbers. Upon reaching a secluded location, one of them betrayed his injured boss and shot him dead. Now, only Lau and one last robber remained. They started transferring the cash to another car, but as soon as they finished, The remaining robber shot Lau and took all the money for himself. The robber sped away, believing he had won, but suddenly, a phone started ringing from inside the cash bags. He panicked and answered it, only to hear a voice from behind. "You don't even recognize your own death?" The robber turned around. Jason stood there. Jason threw a file containing proof of his son's murder. The robber instantly recalled why he had killed Jason's son, but Jason had no mercy left. Bang! First shot, his stomach. Second shot, his lungs. Third shot, straight to the head. The robber collapsed, lifeless. Jason had avenged his son in the exact same way his son was killed. Now, his revenge was complete. Revenge fulfilled. Story over.